So this thing sat. I've started this up for 2 or 3 days in a row. Everything was fine. It's going to stop raining here in a couple days, and he's going to come to get this. And when I went to try to start it, now I tried, because sometimes it was starting. So I got the fuel filter in, and that's all I was going to do. I was going to put the fuel filter in and move it. So what I was going to do was just put this fuel filter in. If you're looking for one of them little filters, there's your part number. Oops. And see, there is an arrow. Oh, you guys probably can't see it on here. Let me see if I can find it and I'll show it to you. But anyway, there's an arrow on here for direction of flow, so it would go the same way as it's in there correctly. All I got to do is I already got the clamps off, just got to pull it out of there and turn the fuel off. And when I do that, I'm going to disconnect it right here. And I just want to run that into a jug and drain that tank out. Because one thing is, maybe I dirtied that carburetor back up because I broke a golden rule. If you do carburetor work, but that was so clean inside. You should really, at the same time, get rid of the gas, flush it out when you do the carburetors. That way you make sure if there's any kind of drop. Maybe I got a drop or two of water in there, I don't know. But you had to dig with a screwdriver, spray some of that in there and some things. And part of the problem with the brake is it's leaking oil onto it. See how far it travels before it does anything? So what I think I'm going to do is just take this nut here and tighten it up a little bit. I don't know if I can do that this way. If I can find it. Okay, so I just went a little bit tighter. There you are. Sorry if you didn't see that. Doesn't look like we're having brakes at all right now. I'm gonna go down here and let me see if I can show you from under here. Here's a different view of it. All you're gonna do is just tighten that nut up a little bit, and there should be a lock nut, so it should stay tight wherever you put it. I don't know if I can hit that brake pedal. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I can't even reach the brake pedal. Let's see if I got any kind of brake. Okay, now I got the brake pedal, so we still got some free play. And then it hits right there, and then that's when the spring pulls. Back here. That mower blade, it does have a few little rust spots, but it's still good and square out here on the end and stuff. I'm just going to take a file and go over the front edge of that and knock any of the humps off so it can't roll the edge. I think that'll be good. Okay, now that we got it to where it has some brakes, I'm going to take the screws out of his cover and pull this ring off. Then I'm going to go around, and there's some bolts like here. Oh, there's one here. I think you got to take the dipstick tube bolts out and a couple, but I want to take this top off of here because when we had this air cleaner and all that stuff off, I did see signs of mouse in there. It wasn't completely fully packed or nothing, there's just a little bit in there, but I'd like to get that out of there so that make sure the engine doesn't overheat. So it's 5/16 is what I got on here. They use this to mow a spot where it's real hilly and stuff. That's why they wanted some brakes. Not to tell them they got oil leaking out there, so I can't guarantee much about how long they'll last or anything like that. But it is a lawnmower. It's not like you're going 100 miles an hour. Oh, but it is nice to have brakes at times. So move that right. Yeah, I better not move that right there. I'll put it back here. You know what happens if I do that? I'll so you looky here. That makes me feel like I should take this off of there and see what we got. Wonder if all these are 5/16. Yep. I believe, I don't know, we'll look at them and see, but I think they might all be the same size, but don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. Now, look here, just on there, we'll talk about it. Let me just cover right away. I don't know what to go. Let me see what you got it. In the back, one's back here, it's one broke off. Oh, yeah. That's like, so we're covered, right? That's good, son. Now, this one's going on. Hang on. Okay, so I took the bolts to take that ring off. I hope I got that on video. I started taking out some of these bolts. This one back here is broke off. One back here doesn't feel like it's far behind it. Just a little shot of this on it. The only good thing about this one here, the one that was already broke off, I don't know what I'll do with it. Maybe just leave it. But this one here goes all the way through to the bottom. So if you did have to try to drill it out or something, you'd probably still be okay. And let me take, looks like this one's gonna have to come out. These maybe in there, maybe not. Okay, so it looks like the only one that we got this long is the dipstick one. And now we're to that. We need to get that one in and out of there. So we're going to keep working it forward and backwards, I guess. Tighten it up a little bit. And back it up. Till it snug. Just don't keep chasing it like that and hope it comes out in one piece. There, it's starting to break free. But don't get too confident. Try to keep going back and forth no matter what. You probably can't even see nothing but my arm, can you? There we go, it's coming out. Boy, it sure felt like it was on a break off. Glad it didn't. Something bigger than that, I guess. This ain't gonna work because the engine just don't turn. Now I guess it did work. Hip hooray! It's one of them days, I gotta see about those mouse nests in there. There probably ain't gonna be that much to mount anything, but in good conscience, I just can't leave it there. Make sure the dipstick stays down in there enough that, oh, I see what's getting me, the plug wire. I can probably just, there we go, pull it down out of there. Oh, you know what I didn't do? But that's probably don't be good enough right there. Whoa, look at that. Look at that with your buddy. Kill wire's all ate up on it. At least the plug wire's not. You can't probably see that, can you? Here, let me get you off of there. Look at the kill wire. There you go. Screen's on backwards. See that kill wire? It's just the ground. I'll probably tape that up a little bit. I mean, it really can't hit nothing, but if it hits ground, it'll kill the engine. So, plug wire looks good. See, there's not much in there, but there's some there, and I can see some back in there. So we just want to get that all out of there as much as we can. I got a little vacuum cleaner. I'll probably clean that, sweep that up out of there with, and then I'll blow it out. There's a bunch of nests right down in there. So I think it's just as easy for me to take this and this bolt out and just move that out of the way. Okay, so I did pick that dipstick up around there a minute just to get that out of there. Try not to get no more crap down in the dipstick as you can. See, that's the kind of stuff there is what kills engines. And while I'm back here, I'm going to try to clean out where that spark plug goes. Okay, so this isn't 100% clean or nothing, but that hole's open. It's open down through there. That was all packed full of nest, and that was too. And remember, the side was. So we're not 100% clean or nothing like that. Really what should happen is this whole thing should be bathed. But we're a whole lot better than we was. At least I don't think it's going to overheat or nothing now. You know, with that passage right here plugged up completely, and that right there, and then them fins over there, that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot of cooling loss. With the grease and stuff still on the dirt on them fins, that'll also reduce cooling to an extent. But it's much better than it was. Now I put those two bolts in. What I did was pull the dipstick out and just put a piece of paper towel in there. It made it a lot easier. And I'm going to leave that loose until I get everything else. I'll get every bolt in it, in the shroud and all. I'll get every bolt back in it before I tighten any of them up. Now one thing to keep in mind is that this plug wire thing has to go back. And all it just slides up in the holes, all it does. Not complicated. And you can kind of see by the witness marks what goes behind and what goes in front. So make sure you get that right. This side's on. What I got over here? Okay, like I say, I tightened one up right here, and I tightened one up in the front. We can just go right around it now and tighten these up. Remember, they're small, so I'm just going to use this screwdriver like attachment thing. If they're looser, worst they can do is fall out, and you can buy new bolts. Okay, so now we need this part. Anytime you've done anything like that and there's a hole there, I don't know if you've seen or not, I tried to blow out some of these little holes. Try to blow that hole out, because if you put a bolt down in there and you've knocked debris or something in it, then what's going to happen is the bolt's going to bottom out, and then you're going to be SOL. Like I say, I'm going to tighten this down like this for now, and then I'll look up and see what the torque's supposed to be. Anyway, this is not a bad little mower. There's a few of these around here, the 30s and 38s and stuff. There's some of the 175s. A lot of people like these mowers because they can get on them banks and stuff, and they feel a lot better. I know this guy, he's got bigger tractors, but he likes this one on the banks. That's the guy up the road that has a 38. That's why he keeps his, because he has a John Deere and a Husqvarna, but he uses this. He uses an XTS 38 or STX 38 to do the hills. They're nice little tractors. I mean, look how long it's lasted. This is probably like 89, 90, something in that area. I didn't really read the serial number to try to find that out. But now we're all put back together. Anytime you do that, you want to kind of keep an eye on that dipstick. And then I want to try to reach under there. And there's 4 bolts that hold that engine down. I want to go in there and just snug them. I told him they was loose, and he said, yeah, they've Loctite them before and stuff. And the 38s, all these I've worked on Seems like that engine comes loose. Okay, so there's one bolt that holds the motor. Up here is another one. You can barely see them. And see all these ground wires and stuff going to this one? This one here, you gotta make sure it keeps tight. A lot of these will have cranking problems, hard start, clicking, and all kinds of stuff. Sometimes it's warranted trying to do other things to make them start. But most of the time on these, I found if you just clean them ground wires and tighten them, it works. Now this one here, I tightened, and I did get maybe I probably got a little over a quarter turn out of it. I don't know if I can hold you up here and do that one or not, probably not. I'll let you know how much I got out of it though. I don't know what you can see, but I already turned it some. Let's see, that's enough to make things loose. I'll get that on there. I'm just using a wrench. You could probably get a socket. You might have to have a swivel or turn the steering or something. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up a little more. I think I can get probably another eighth of turn out of it. And see, that's not really that loose, but it is when you start thinking about electrical connections. Now this side, they're a little harder to find because that bump right here comes down. They're in behind that. I had to use a socket. And then the other one is, see like here, you can kind of see on the sump where the shiny part is at the very bottom of the deck. You can see where the bolt goes up in. You can just kind of follow it down and see where it's at. Same as one on the back, I think you can see it. Now the one on the, kind of below the oil filter, see that pulley? I don't know if you can see that or not. It's between the pulley and that belt. It's rough to get to. I had to go to 1/4 inch. And I did get probably 3/4 of a turn out of it. So I got 1/4 to a half a turn out of all 4 engine mounts. And like I say, the real critical one is the one over there with the electric wires to it. Now here's the spark plug out of it. I don't know if you can see that or not. It is a little dirty and stuff. It's just a spark plug. We might as well replace it. It's a RC12YC. RC12YC. What's in it? That baby's way back in there too. Another one of them times you'd want to try to hand start stuff. Last thing you want to do is strip across, thread a spark plug hole. And when I was tightening all them cover screws up, why didn't someone say, "Hey, you forgot to tighten them ones down there up"? Or was you guys screaming at me trying to say, "Hey, hey, hey"? Okay, so now we need a spark plug. So I changed that filter. There's another metal new filter. Just use some channel locks to get that one broke loose. The rubber ring, I will put some oil on it. Just a little bit on there, I'll keep that from sticking. I like to fill the oil filters too, but this one's upside down, so I'm not going to. There again, you want it snug, but not too snug. It tells you right here. Now, if I can find my silver Sharpie, I will write the date right here. Okay, so I took the 2 bolts out of the cover, and the side pieces are there too. I don't know if you guys can see or not. Let's see, there's a bolt up there. 5/8 is what I used. And in the back, right back here, I don't know if you can see it. But on the back of the axle, there's a bolt. I mean a nut. I tightened that up because it was really loose. So now I have to put this guard back on. You look, you can see where these have been. You can see that that fits over. Fits over. One on both sides, and hold it up there and get your bolt started. So we do got some flow. We'll have to drain that out and see what we end up with. Not drain them very fast, is it? Now it's kind of misty in there because I just blew a little bit of air up in there. But I thought right there in the middle, I thought was where the fuel come out of the tank at. But it's actually over here on the side, there's a little hole. You guys probably can't see anything now. See, there's a little hole back here on toward the bottom of the screen there. And the one up there I thought was it, but it's this little one over here when I blow the air out of it. Or back up through it. Interesting. Okay, so I took the carburetor back off, and there was a couple drops of water, what it looked like in the bottom of the bowl. So I think that's what got me, because I shortcutted and didn't drain the tank. Where this thing screws up into, where that jet is up inside, by the float, right in front of the float, there's a little hole that goes in the side. You got to make sure that little hole is clean. I ran stuff through it and blow air through it, but I'd done that the first time, so I'm pretty sure it was clean. So I'm thinking maybe, I'm hoping it starts when it's cold. I'm thinking maybe it was just the few drops of water I got in there. We'll see when it gets cold. Okay, so that thing's still leaking somewhat. And I'm pretty sure it's up here, that rubber gasket, because I had to take it back apart again. So I'm going to take that bowl off one more time. Try to fix that gasket. If not, I'll just buy the O-ring and put on there. You guys have seen me take this apart several times here. I think. Let's see if it'll start. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So it cranked a little longer than I would like, but it is only 40 degrees maybe right now, 39, 40. On with the video. So he said this leaked all the time, so he'd always turn the fuel off, and you can see where it was leaking everywhere. So far now it's dry. And on this hood, see this? There's a cutout here. You can see it good there, the cutout there. On this hood, this rod right here goes in there, and then them two springs come back and hook. When you get both sides of that hood in that rod in that slot, the hood will stay up by itself. Now we got to get to the springs, and I think I showed before, but zip tie around the end of the spring. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but I just got a zip tie around that, and I can pull the zip tie to get that on. There, you can see better on this side. And when you get it on there, you just pull the spring right off, or the zip tie off of it. I hope I showed you that. Pull it, put it down. You gotta make sure you don't get the zip tie on top. You gotta pull it a little bit longer and slide it around. That should be it. Hood should be on. You gotta make sure the bottom stays in the groove.